me tell you, I was paying attention, and then I started I don't know, I was like dozing off, and then I was waking up and laughing at the score, and it was almost comical. Like, it was just a bunch of things going on in that first half, like, in my brain. I was eating part of it, I was sleeping part of it, I was laughing part of it.
I just eat when the Celtics are getting crushed. I just when the refrigerator run, yeah, just something like that. It didn't taste great, and I threw it out halfway through. It was no good. By the way, you're listening to Celtics Roundtable on the Boston Celtics newsfeed. This is not going to be the most serious podcast we've ever done. We're probably not going to do a true breakdown like we've been doing for most of these playoffs. So I hope you enjoyed that up to this point, but this is going to be more of just a chit-chat type of podcast, so I hope you're all down for it. I'm Matt Ignal. We got Zaire here. We got Lucky's pipe. And Lucky, how did you manage to get through this game?
A few beers. I had some people over, so I turned it on when they were already down by 30, and LeBron hit a shot. He was contested by two people, and it was just a three, and it was just ridiculous, and he just makes it money, and I'm like there's nothing you can do. LeBron is unconscious at this point, and we're just we're witnesses.
So final score, I can't even believe it. Cavaliers 130, Boston Celtics 86. While it was sad to see the Celtics kind of give up, I think we can sort of say that it looked like they just didn't have any fight in them. This was an A-plus game, I thought, for the Cavs. 32 points in the first, 40 points in the second, 31 points in the third. Zaire, you're usually the optimist in this group. Can you even spin this one?
I'm never gonna be pessimistic, man. You know how it is. It's not. No, I ain't even gonna say life's too short, man. Listen, it's a big punch in the face, and you just have to go to game 3 and do what you can do, and not hang your head too much, man.
I said this on the last podcast. I've been saying it for a little while. I don't think Isaiah Thomas is right. He just has zero burst right now. I don't think he's looked right since really game 2 of the Wizards series. And a lot of that was due to the Wizards pressure, but it sort of seems like he's sort of broken down. And then we saw that he strained his leg in the second quarter and did not return. But I thought he was injured before that. So I feel like that's something that's going to get a little bit overlooked while we're talking about this. It's not like the Celtics would have won this game anyway, but when people and like Zaire said, people are very reactionary at this point. Everybody's sort of trade Isaiah, don't pay Isaiah, bring on the future, something like that. Let's just pump the brakes just a little. That might be the smartest move in the long term, but just pump the brakes a little bit. He's not 100% or anything close to it, and certainly less than that even now.
Well, can we go to why was Gerald Green the answer? We saw that Jaylen was the guy that, if anything, had the best advantage of any of the Cavs, especially LeBron, and he decided to put out Gerald Green, who could not defend a fucking stick. I don't know what to do. And yeah,
I mean, Chris Webber was ripping Brad Stevens for slotting bigs onto LeBron James, or the Celtics would happily. Well, I don't know if they would happily switch, but LeBron James was able to get switched. So Kelly Olynyk or Al Horford was guarding him, and there's just nothing that can be done at that point. Neither of those guys are equipped to guard LeBron James in the slightest. So a couple weird things by Brad Stevens.
Some of it's mental, some of it is just preparation and the lack thereof. I don't question Brad Stevens often, but I think maybe what he sees is not translating well to the players. They're not receiving it, they're not understanding it, and they look befuddled out there. They look confused. Remember that time when we saw Jordan Mickey trying to guard LeBron at the beginning of the season? His eyes was wide open. Well, the whole team looks like that now. So, that's the case. That's what you have. And so when it's a lot of miscommunication, mistrust, misguidance out there, when you have all of that going on, it's hard to win a game. And it all just snowballed today. Just snowballed, an avalanche, man. But it made for some comical commentary. One of my favorite things during the halftime of the TNT when they were playing cards. And Kenny Smith they said it was the biggest halftime deficit ever. And Kenny Smith said, well, if someone else has been beaten worse, we need to go beat them. Man, I was on the floor for that one. It just was comical, man. It turned into like one of the most entertaining comedy sets, both on the radio and on TV.
It's unfortunate that, like, Jaylen has become the meme of this game. Like, I was just looking through Twitter, and it's just, like, Jaylen memes are just filling up the timeline of him on the bench, just, like, looking disheveled because, you know, they're losing by 30 points, and it's just, like, he had barely anything to do with it, and it's just, like, everybody's just going off on him, and it's just, like, I was just, like, this is not, you know, he's probably the one silver lining of this series is that, you know, he's a rookie, and he's been one of the better people to put against, you know, LeBron James, the best player in the world right now. But you know, can we be honest? Wait a second, man. Like, let's really, really be honest. I can't sit here and just be like, oh, Jaylen Brown's has been. No, he hasn't been a silver lining. Nobody's a silver lining. He's done well at times. I think sometimes anything he does, it just seems like sometimes we go, oh, it was great. The dude's a number 3 pick, man. Like in a sorry draft. He's a number 3 pick, but he can play good man defense. Like if he's on LeBron 1-on-1 and he doesn't have to, like, you know, think about off ball shit, like he can do what's needed of him.
He does. He has to think about the off ball stuff. Like that's a part of guarding LeBron James. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I know, like, I mean, he's shown some moments, man, but I'm just not in the Jaylen Brown bandwagon. I'm just not there right now. And I think that whoever they get this year, if they better not give me what Jaylen Brown is giving me. Like, no, like that guy, I don't know. I'm just not convinced with him right now. And I think he shows flashes, but he's going to get abused just like everybody else is getting abused. If you put him in a full game situation against LeBron James, almost nights. I mean, I know he's done well once or twice, but you know, right now, no. I mean, it's the whole team, man. It's just not there.
Man, Zaire, you're such an optimist about everything, and then Jaylen Brown is like your one exception. It's very strange. No. I mean, I do think that, like, the Celtics fan does get a little bit carried away with Jaylen Brown. You're not wrong about that. He's still yet to become a good player. I'm hopeful that he can do that sooner rather than later. But he's still very raw. His basketball IQ isn't that great. He's not. Because
you can find some mistakes he made. He made some mistakes earlier in the game that you can find and go, okay, you know. So he's just not there. And I just think this whole draft was a joke. Like, it was a mistake for a lot of these guys to come out early. I've gotten into arguments with people over and over again where they're just like, well, if you have the opportunity to come out. Like, yeah, but sometimes you need to sacrifice, man, to become a better player. And, you know, this was just a bad year to have a top pick and expect something from them. And fortunately, the Celtics didn't really need him to.
All right, it's playoff season, and having the right players on the court will be the key to success. That sharp outside shooter or power rebounder or LeBron James can be the difference between winning and losing. Business is not any different. Your company needs the right people to be the best. So where do you go to find the top talent? Well, at ZipRecruiter.com, you can post your job to 100-plus job sites with one click. Then their powerful technology efficiently matches the right people to your position. And right now, our listeners can start forming their own winning team on ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/sportsfan. That's ZipRecruiter.com/sportsfan. Try it for free today at ZipRecruiter.com/sportsfan. And it's a huge if they get Gordon Hayward. A huge if at this point.
Is.
I don't think the Celtics have shown that they're any close. I don't think the Celtics have shown that they're any closer than the Jazz. I mean, I guess they're closer in like a long-term sense, is that the Celtics' long-term future is brighter than the Jazz, but I don't think their short-term future is necessarily any brighter.
Well, it's whatever Gordon Hayward values more. It's like if he wants to have like one team that he has to worry about, like the Cavs, that he has to get through, then, you know, the Celtics are his crew. But like if he wants to stay in the West, then he still has to think about, you know, this year it was the Warriors that pretty much fleeced them, but next year it could be the Spurs. Like if Kawhi's healthy and they're playing Utah, they're gonna beat Utah. Like, so there's multiple teams in front of them to get to that point. So, it's whatever he wants.
I mean, Sam Vecini, who's going to be on Celtics beat with me on Sunday. Shameless plug, but it is going to be my birthday this Sunday, so I'm allowed.
You're the man. Congratulations.
Yeah, dude. Yo, May guys. So mine was yesterday. So
nice.
Support that.
He pushed the idea on his excellent Game Theory podcast that the Celtics could, while the 17th pick is worth more than a guy like Jimmy Butler or Paul George, that the Celtics could potentially flip their 18th pick, get a guy like Jimmy Butler with the 18th pick, and maybe a couple extra things thrown in there. The Bulls might be willing to do that, and then use that to say, okay, now you come over, Gordon Hayward, and now we're legit. Like, you get two top 15 guys in the NBA and add them to this core. Then I think that you can make things enticing for Gordon Hayward. Of course, that might hurt you a little bit down the road because that 18 pick could be extremely valuable depending on where the Nets fit. But that might be something to swing the tide a little bit, I guess. But right now I think smart money's on Gordon Hayward staying in Utah.
I don't know, but shout out to Ante Zizic. That's my guy. That's who I'm rolling with next year. He's the savior of the franchise.
Zaire's more excited about Ante Zizic than Markelle Fultz.
Yes, absolutely. Listen, it's all about Croatia, man. I know my Croatian basketball history, man. That's my thing right there. And so he's a part of the lineage. And so I figure, like, I watch wrestling, the Samoan dynasty is tough, and then you got the Hart family, so I got the Croatian lineage, man. Come on. You got my guy, Dino Radja. He was good. And Drazen was great. And, there's some other ones, but this guy right here, he's the next one, man. And I'm buying into it. I'm putting all my chips into the Ante Zizic train. We going and we're going to get some rebounding all of a sudden. We have a tough guy in the post. All our answers right there. That's what we need. We good.
Hey, I almost forgot. Isaiah, right hip strain. Perhaps like the biggest news of today came via Jackie McMullen on Bob Ryan's podcast that last year, we don't know when, and we don't know the details, and we're not 100% sure it's true, but Jackie McMullen's about as reputable as they come. She says that Danny Ainge offered Isaiah Thomas in an attempt to get another lottery pick last year. I had a feeling the Celtics really liked Jamal Murray. We just heard like a lot of good buzz coming out of his workouts. Like he hit like a bunch of threes, and then he also did like a great job on like some of their like stamina testing, I remember, and I thought that he was their next choice after Jaylen Brown. So I guess it's not that surprising. And Isaiah, you're gonna have to pay him at some point, and everyone's scared off that he's 5'9". Maybe you didn't expect this kind of 29 points a game explosion, king in the fourth this year thing. So it's not entirely crazy, but it was strange that the news came out on the day of Game 2.
Yeah, that doesn't. I'm not surprised by that either. I mean, I think Danny Ainge is open to any move that's going to help make this team better. He learned from, like they always bring up the fact that he learned from watching Red Auerbach refuse to trade Larry Bird and Kevin McHale. The pieces that he could have gotten for those guys would have really helped the Celtics in the down years in the mid 90s. And would I be a big fan of him trading Isaiah Thomas? No. But, you can't, as a GM, you just can't get attached to guys, when you got a better situation ahead of you.
Why wouldn't we be open to taking one and then trading a group of players, a package of players, or one player to get another lottery pick this year? Like, it kind of creates that open door. Like, people are thinking like, oh, they're just going to like trade one and go for Paul George, and they're just going to go all in for like a 3-year window or even a 1-year window if Paul George decides he wants to leave. Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, Ainge understands he needs to create a longest window as possible.
Yeah, I think that makes a ton of sense. And I think the Celtics, especially, it makes sense because the Celtics are going to be running into the cap pretty this year, essentially. And then, next year, when Marcus Smart, Avery Bradley, and Isaiah Thomas are going to be due for big raises, it makes a lot of sense exploring at least what you can get for some of those guys. So I imagine that Ainge and company will do their due diligence. I think they're 2 stars away, not just one. I think most people are in agreement with that. And that's why I was talking, why Sam Vecini mentioned, like, well, what if they get, like David Griffin, we heard post-trade deadline that he was terrified that the Celtics were going to get both Paul George and Jimmy Butler, that they'd go all in or something like that. And that would have made the Celtics a contender, some form of contender. And I think you could say the same thing, that if they're able to pick up 2 stars, I think Danny Ainge is going to explore that. I think he's going to explore both looking completely towards the future and going, and also look more towards going all in in the present. I just think that smart money's on future.
2 stars, not 1. That's what you think.
Well, that's the thing. It's just a matchup thing. Like, if the Warriors were in the Eastern Conference, I feel like we would have a better chance for whatever that's worth. Like, we've had some success in the last 2 years versus the Warriors, with different lineups.
Minus Durant each time.
Yeah.
Minus Durant each time. But they have KYRIE and they have Love. And it's like, and that's what people are saying, like, there's 3 guys better than every person on the Celtics right now. So that's where it comes down to, like, you need 2 additional stars to really get over the Cavs right now.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you got the Warriors too, but I think that's why smart money's on the future, is because you're in the era of the super team. All right, that'll do it here at Celtics Roundtable on the Boston Celtics newsfeed. Be sure to subscribe to the Boston Celtics newsfeed on your favorite podcast app, or download the CLNS Media mobile app. Be sure to give this podcast, the Boston Celtics newsfeed, a 5-star review on iTunes. We're going to be back after Sunday night's Game 3 showdown. So for Lucky, Zaire, and I guess the rest of the Celtics Roundtable that isn't here, I'm Matt Ignal. We'll see you in a couple days.